Okay, guys, good morning. So, you saw my video, our last video. We got the new Leupold VX Freedom 30mm scope in. So today, I'm going to show you how to mount a rifle scope onto your firearm. This is obviously going to differ between firearms that you have. This one is a Ruger M77, so when you buy a Ruger M77, they are going to come with rings because Ruger takes special rings. Okay, the guns do come with them. This set I had to buy separately because these are 30mm rings. They are not going to be the rings that I keep on this gun because I'm going to end up getting a set of detachable rings, but these are a set that I already had laying around. So obviously you're going to need your rings, you're going to need your scope, and then there's a special tool that you're going to need, and this is a scope leveling set. This is going to be a special set of tools that you're going to need to properly install a scope onto your firearm. I know a lot of people end up just kind of looking down through the scope and like doing it in the line of sight. Yeah, I was guilty of that for years as well, but it is not the correct way. The only way to get your scope 100% level on that firearm is going to be to actually level it. So, this is pretty self-explanatory. First thing you need to do is install your rings. All right, on M77s, on Ruger M77 models, you have two different rings. You have a short, the ring that goes in the front is going to be shorter than the ring that's in the back because the action or the receiver on a Ruger M77 is two different heights. So if you have one of these, look at your rings. Typically, they're going to come with a 4 and a 5. A number 4 is a shorter one. It goes up front. Your number 5 is obviously a little bit taller. Goes in the back. So, another helpful and very important thing here is while installing your scope rings is to make sure that you have a screwdriver or a torque wrench, depending on the rings that you own. Make sure that it actually fits the rings themselves. All right, there's nothing worse than you going to put rings on your gun, your screwdriver slip off and it goes across the finish on your firearm. Now your firearm's scratched. So that's just a little bit of advice. Got our coffee this morning with our logo on it. Okay, so let's get these rings the rest of the way on here. Now, the one thing that I do not have that is kind of important, and I should get one at some point, is a torque wrench set for scopes. I don't have one because I've always kind of just still in the old times of just kind of doing it by feel, but they actually do. Your scope rings and your scope mounts should be torqued to a specific torque, and I don't have one, but I should get one. So what I do now is I go ahead and I level my gun out. I put the bubble on the top. I put this small bubble on the top of my receiver. If you have a flat receiver, these work best. If you have a rounded top receiver, you can go off your scope mounts. Just make sure you check front and back to make sure that they are both level. So now that I have a level on the front of the top of my receiver, I'm going to take my barrel level. This is a clamp that wraps around the barrel. All right. I am literally just going to clamp this on around the barrel. And again, this is really the only correct, 100% correct way to do this. You have to make sure that rifle scope is completely level to that gun. Otherwise, if you go shooting long distances, your gun's going to be off. So, and nobody wants their gun to be off. So, all right. So now I have the front on. I'm going to adjust the front so that it is level with the rear. Okay, so what we have inside of here is I have the bubble is dead center in the back, and then I adjust the front so that it's dead center in the front as well. So now that I know if this gun moves, I know how to recenter this gun. And the reason for doing this is when I go to set this scope onto this firearm, I can set this level on top of the scope and adjust the scope. Now the scope's level. That's literally it. That's all it is. Now all I have to do is put the tops on, torque it down, and that's it, guys. There's nothing hard about this at all. It can be very tedious. It can be the worst experience in your life. I know a lot of people have lost their minds trying to get scopes, level on their firearms. It can be a very daunting task, but it does not have to be. So, now that I got the scope on, I will set the rings. Now, when I go to install the rings, I do not tighten them all the way down. All I am doing first is starting the threads. Okay? Do not tighten these all the way down just yet. And there's a reason for this. When the proper way to do your scope rings is where the top connects to the bottom. You do not want metal touching. Right here, where the bottom of the scope ring and the top of the scope ring connects, you want a little bit of float area on both sides on all four rings. You do not want them touching. So what I do is I get them started. I get both sides about where the threads start to catch. Then I stop. And with some rings are kind of junky, and you'll get where the threads like try to catch the whole way through. You just have to kind of work through that. I've found that a lot with Weaver rings. They tend to do that a lot. Ruger rings, not so much, but I have had them do them in the past. Now, like I said before, these rings are not going to be the ones that I keep on this gun. They're going to be the ones that I keep on here for right now. I am going to get a set of detachable rings for this gun, seeing that I have open sights and I'm going to use this gun to drive deer. I need to be able to get this scope on and off this gun, since I cannot find anybody that makes a set of flip mounts for it. Actually, I can't really find anybody that makes flip mounts period at all anymore. So these rings are going to have to work for right now. And beside that, I just had them laying. I already had these rings But now that we have got it where we need, make sure that the scope has not moved. That is the whole point of this. As you're sitting here adjusting your scope rings, make sure the scope does not move. Now, all you got to do is you got to tighten it up. I do, just like the way that I do scope rings is I do them just like lug nuts. I start on one side, do one corner, tighten it a little bit, go to the other corner, tighten it a little bit. All right? Any mechanics or anybody that knows how you do lug nuts, how you start on one side and then you diagonal it, okay? I do scope rings the exact same way. That way you get an even torque on all sides of that tube, okay? Because if you do one side all at once and then go through and do the other side, if you tighten up this side and then go back and tighten up this side, you can actually have that scope try to roll on you. And then you just defeated the whole purpose of trying to level this gun out. So, we are actually good now. We're level. It looks great. I think I'm going to like this scope on this rifle. I'm going to take it out and test fire it here in a little bit. But guys, I hope this didn't bore you that much. I figured it was a perfect opportunity to do this video. I've kind of been wanting to do it for a while now. If any of you all, it is Tuesday. Thanksgiving is this week. Anybody that happens to be traveling this week, please be safe. There's a lot of crazies out there on the road, so just watch out. I hope that you have fun with your family. Always enjoy the moments that you get to spend with your family. Not all of us get to do that. Some of us are, some people are overseas right now. Some of us work factory jobs like myself that don't get to spend a lot of time with their family, and we miss a lot of holidays. So cherish every moment that you get with your family. Anybody that is like my family and you are going to be hunting together as men Thanksgiving morning before the big feast that evening, please be safe. I hope that you get the buck of your dreams that day, and be safe on your travels home. Until next time, guys, I love you to death. Like and subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you later.